Hey, what's up guys, and welcome back to the episode of Detective Butler, Maiden Voyage Murder. So we're just gonna get right into chapter 9, I believe. Upon returning to the captain's room, Cecilia and I found the others standing right where we had left them. Our trip to the engine room had taken a little under an hour, but it seems the others found a few things to do in the meantime. Go fish. Butler and Blythe were sitting on the floor, appearing to be locked on a game of cards, while Howard tries to console Eliza once again. Meanwhile, Captain, Jack, and Donna are frantically mashing keys on the control system. It's no use. Damn it, there's really nothing we can do. Oi? Still not fixed? We turn on the backup generator. No, not that. The electricity is running fine, and the ship will definitely make it back to land. However, during that blackout, we lost the data on the cameras. Something went wrong and we can't get it back. The captain pounds his fist on the controls, which does nothing to static field screens above. Good work, Jack. Now we're back to square one. Even if Butler couldn't solve the case, we could really rely on video. But now we can't. It's all gone. Was this the culprit's doing? Is it possible they've killed again? What? Dad's dying message. SOS. It's just an interpretation, but considering the generator was sabotaged as the video as well. Maybe the culprit intends to kill even more people. Don't worry about that. I dispatched my bodyguards all around the ship. If anyone ends up dead, they'll be the first to hear about it. And notify me via headset. These guys do look like they can handle it. There haven't been any reports of another death yet, have there? As far as I know, none. The culprit doesn't have much time if they want to kill again. We're almost back on shore. Good to hear. Anyway, Gilligan, let's go outside for a moment. Butler stands up, pulling me aside so he can talk to me in private. Did you find anything in that room? Possibly. Take a look. I show him the photograph and piece of paper. Oh boy, what do we have here? Is this a contract or something? It's definitely the logo of GG Inc. There's no mistaking it. It's kind of long to read. I don't feel like looking over it. What am I supposed to do? Summarize it for you or something? Be my guest. I do my best to explain the contents of the contract to Butler. Guess I shouldn't have explained any better from him. See. This is basically a confession from Jack's grandfather, and a connection between him and your father's company. Should we ask him about it? That's a horrible idea. He's got something he wants to keep hidden. Why should we bring it up to his face? Well, I don't know. You're a horrible detective. That's why I'm in charge of these things. At least I'm a good Watson. Yes, I'll give you that. Find clues and bring them to me like a good assistant. But I call you more of a Hastings than a Watson. Oh my god, Hastings? Well, you don't know that guy? No, I really don't. Casual. Shortly after, Bella and I returned to the room. It seems as though nothing important has happened. What was that all about? Nothing. We're still at a loss for real evidence. That's no good. We just had to rely on the police after all. But what else can they do? All the people here on this cruise ship, what could they do to find the killer? You mean once the cruise is over, right? Yeah! What happened once the police find out the bad guy already went into hiding? I mean, that's what a sensible culprit would do. True. Being unable to pinpoint the killer right now, it seems like they'll inevitably get away. But if there are no clues, it can't be helped. With that evidence, we can't get anywhere. And then the culprit will get away? Anyway, I've been waiting for Gilligan to get back so I could bring this up. I've overheard Eliza saying something about the company meeting held late last night. Alright, you and Gilligan weren't there. I suppose that means you were missing a lot of the picture then. Tell me everything. Can't believe the three of you held something like this important back from us. I don't even know why he called the whole group. We parted for a while, but the fun and games ended rather abruptly. So this was a serious meeting, huh? Yes. Since Gilligan talked to him about it last night, he wanted to address it right away. The secession of the company. Because of me? What did he say? He said that he trusted me and that for that reason I should be the next CEO. Even when we voiced our objections, he didn't listen. I don't get why he picked her. The only one objecting was you. Right, Howard? I would say that was a pretty hasty decision on Galvano's part. But who am I to tell him otherwise? If anyone could have gotten through to him, it'd have been you. Hey, calm down. Anything else happened, or was that it? Fortunately, nothing else. Seriously, why do you keep acting like he made a mistake? Because I think he did. Come on. He says it's because he trusted you, but I think we all know the real reason. When Galvano went missing, Eliza constantly exclaimed how worried she was about him. And when he was found dead, she was most upset other than myself. In fact, she entered such a rage that she was willing to accuse me of killing my own father. Even in Eliza's reaction to Galvano's death, she always seemed to be unusually cheerful around him. Anyone could have guessed that they were good friends at the very least. I don't see anything wrong with what he said. All I'm suggesting is that he trusts you a little too much. We live in a world where altruism is rare to come by. Considering my father was just murdered and he owned a lot of assets prior to his death, it wouldn't be so strange if for a greedy employee to have killed him. Eliza could have emotionally manipulated him into showing a weakness, and the moment he did, she took advantage of that opening and killed him. I didn't know such thing. I tried my best to support him when he needed me, that's all. I just got caught up in everything and... Eliza falls to her knees, sobbing through her hands. Galvano was the one who approached me. It isn't my fault. Because I tried my best to save him. What's not your fault? Are you talking about his death? Yes. I tried so hard to save him because he came to me and asked me for help. When I first started working there, I was just like any of his other employees. Why he picked me, I still don't know. But he did. He'd always give me more attention than my coworkers, inviting me out to lunch, giving me extra breaks each day. I thought he was just a nice guy, so I complied, but he wanted help, and I didn't know how to offer it. He wanted to escape the cold black void of loneliness and isolation that buried him years ago. He carried too many feelings of guilt and regret on his shoulders. If he had only done something different back then, taken another choice. But it's not like you to get do-overs in life. And so he told me about his loss of hope. He told me about you, Gilligan, and how he felt so bad for ruining his once a perfect family. You didn't know what to do because you had built a wall of resentment against him. He wanted to see his wife again and apologize to her, but he knew that wasn't possible. What was he supposed to do but come crawling to someone for help? For whatever reason, I sympathized with him. He was charismatic, brilliant, and wealthy. What else could I have asked for? But he carried his past with him, and I could see it hurting him every day. So I took it upon myself to make him happy. Every day I told him to look at what an amazing job he'd been doing with his company, and that one day he'd be able to pass it on to his son. And when that happens, they could be reunited again. He probably looked forward to that day. And that day should have been today. Instead, things went wrong and he was killed. So that's why he was so proud of it. It's hard to describe how terrible I feel right now. He wanted us to get over our problems and live happily again, and that GG Inc. was the solution. He was so scared when the company was going downhill, he really didn't know what to do. Galvano. He and Eliza had been in a relationship for some time. Wait, you got a relationship out of... Oh, yeah, I guess that makes sense. Turns out she and my father were seeing each other, however, as my father who approached her first, hoping to find someone to take my mother's place. Blythe, she was fully opposed to Eliza becoming the next CEO. Ooh, okay, here's my theory, okay? Now, this is just obviously a theory. I don't know how it's going to work out. What if Eliza and Galvano were seeing each other, right? What if Blythe got jealous? What if Blythe actually liked Galvano, right? And decided to kill Galvano, or try to kill Eliza to get with Galvano, or that's why they're always at odds with each other. But what ended up happening was she ended up killing Galvano by mistake somehow. I don't know how exactly she would have, but I feel like it could be that Blythe was actually in love with him, and that's why she's probably so angry that Eliza became the next CEO. I see. So the company's near-death experience shook up my father quite a bit. When we talked about it at the meeting last night, he said he gave him a realization, and it made him want to change, but now he's Eliza. Let's say this. I have a hunch. I need more information. Gilligan. Yeah, like what? I'll be needing all of your alibis again. But this time for last night. And don't leave out any details. Got it? Let's see. Well, I didn't do much yesterday afternoon. I had a good look around the ship, finally deciding to sit down in the lounge and read my book. When it was time for us to meet up, I returned to the hallway and saw Blythe and Eliza in conversation. Gilligan soon met up with us, and we all ate dinner. It was really good. Anyway, I decided to go to the bar where Galvano found me. We had a couple drinks together, he talked to me for a bit, and suggested we have fun as a group. So he rounded up the others. When we went to the game room for a few hours, and he bought some things at the gift shop afterwards. Unfortunately, the pocket watch I bought fell out and I actually slipped in it during the meeting. Okay, after we settled into our rooms yesterday afternoon, I went to the bar with Galvano. We had some drinks and walked around the ship. Eventually, it was time for dinner, and Galvano told me to wait with the others in the hallway. That's when Gilligan met up with us and we all went to dinner. After that, he decided to go to the sauna for a few hours. I returned to my room around 9:30. Galvano knocked on my door. He wanted to talk to all of us. Blythe and Howard came up with us to the game room where we had some fun playing card games. There were some slot machines and other gambling games, but I'm no good at those, so I didn't play. After that, our group went to the gift shop. Galvano bought me this really cute stuffed alpaca. I really liked it. Finally, we all went inside my room to discuss the company meeting. It was just before midnight, I think. Once we had finished the meeting, the three left and I went to bed. Ooh, I see a contradiction. After unpacking my things, I stayed in my room for an hour or so. Then, I walked around the ship and found the game room where I spent most of the time until dinner. I turned to the fifth deck hallway to meet up with the others. After dinner, I was feeling a bit tired, so I went back to my room and watched television. Around 9:30, Galvano knocked on my door, and we all departed to the game room at my suggestion. We had a fun time, but you're probably not interested in hearing that. We then decided to check out the gift shop. Turns out they had a super weird deck, and I instantly bought. But I thought this cruise ship had such good taste. Last but not least, Galvano gathered all of us in Eliza's room to tell us she became the next CEO. Howard and I left. I think Galvano stayed a bit longer, and I directly went back to my room to sleep. I was in the captain's room most of the day. Around 5 p.m., Galvano showed up in my office. We had a friendly chat and then went to the fifth deck to gather the others. I showed them all of my VIP section of dining, and I believe Donald took over from there. As for myself, I patrolled around the decks for a while to ensure everything was going all right. Around 9 p.m., I returned to my room. I determined that nothing was out of place during my patrol, but as a cautionary procedure, I asked my guards. As I previously mentioned, the employees had returned to their keys to the captain's room before sleeping. I'd actually gone to sleep myself in my personal bedroom, but was woken up by a knock on the door. Cecilia had confessed that she lost her keyring, and I was quite irritated at her for it. So I gave her my personal keyring and the elevator key as a replacement. I then went back to sleep. Well, in the earlier parts of the day, I was busy preparing the dining hall for its grand reopening. I was also busy in the kitchen preparing your dinner, making sure we had all the ingredients before departing, and so on. When the time finally came, I served Galvano's group their dinner. Oh, and I also happened to serve Butler, who was going on a review on the Maiden Voyage, who was doing a Maiden Voyage. Naturally, I wanted to give him a review on the food, and he couldn't resist. Anyway, the dinner itself went smoothly. I remained in the dining hall from maybe 6 to 10 p.m. I don't really keep it open late. That's what the bar is for. Oh, once the restaurant closed down, I made sure everything was put away and the area cleaned up. So probably around 10:30, I went to the captain's room and shared my set of keys. I'm getting too old to stay up so late, so I went to my room on the first deck, locked the door from inside, and went to sleep before 11. That way I get enough rest for the next day. Lastly is Cecilia. Right. Well, I was on clean duty in the afternoon. I went around to other rooms on the fifth deck and cleaned up, just as I did today, finishing up around 3:30. I continued working at the bar until 8, when I took a quick break to eat. Then I quickly cleaned all the rooms that were empty. I could tell by the signs on their doors. Sadly, I couldn't remember which rooms I'd cleaned. I don't think I cleaned Gilligan's room, though. I went back to the bar and worked there until 2 a.m. That's when the bar closes, after all. I think I remember seeing Galvano there a lot yesterday, but he seemed to be in a really bad mood. I didn't say anything, and instead I went to the captain's room to turn in my key. Of course, I didn't have my key ring, so I was scolded by the captain, and as you know, he lent me his key ring, so around 2:30 a.m. I guess I went to sleep. Well, that's that. Butler, you've had your fun for some time now, but it's getting late. Let's see if there's something out. I suggest we all turn in for the night and let the police handle things tomorrow. Inventory. Her closet is fully apparently my father bought a pack as a present when they gave it to the gift shop. Inventory. Her bought a package from the gift shop but claims he suddenly broke in the company meeting. Inventory. Bought a card deck. What do you mean? This isn't over. I'm almost there. Then tell me right now. What happened to Mr. Golder? If you can't answer, then that's proof you've just been wasting all of our time. Is that really the case? I can't. I haven't seen Butler like this before. He's sweating, nervously shaking, and too sad that he still hasn't solved anything. He might enjoy detective fiction, but comes to real crime solving, things just aren't so convenient. In real life, there's no guarantee the case is solvable, or that enough evidence was left behind after all. That's right. If we're a conventional detective story, he would surely have deduced the answer by now. If there was conventional detective story, he'd confidently proclaim the answer out loud for everyone to hear. However, this person, the one and only Detective Butler, isn't a conventional detective. I can't believe the answer is so simple. What? You know who did it? Simple? How can that be? There was really enough evidence to solve it? Evidence? We hadn't found anything new. So, did we really have the answer all along? Maybe I can check all the clues one more time. Flip open my journal. Yeah, this thing comes in handy. I ran down a list of all the clues so far. The contract, the photo, the key rings, everything Butler found in my room was my father's dying message. We still haven't made any sense of it, but it's the one clue that he left behind. No clue that might lead to something, but I can't figure it out. That's right. We have all the evidence we need. Are you ready to hear the truth? Go ahead. I'm ready. Firstly, remember the note Galvano left this morning for you, Gilligan? Gilligan, I'm sorry that I haven't been listening to you. I'll go talk to community members about it. Be back by 2. 2G. That note. Found it in my room in the morning, and I took it with me just to be safe. You know that saying, even a broken clock is right twice a day. Get it now? Totally lost. 2 a.m.? Oh, call me broken clock or something? No. Take a look at the note again. I snatch a note from my hands and read it again to myself. Right. It's directed at me. My father apologizes and he says I'll go back to talk to Lawyers and be back by... Wait. Are you really saying that? Bingo. There's a chance he meant 2 a.m. instead of 2 p.m. Wait. What does that mean? Why would he write a note saying that? Yes, indeed. Well, Galvano picked 2. Why not 12 to take Gilligan to lunch, or 6 to meet him for dinner? Galvano meant 2 a.m., the same time the bar closes every night. In other words, since the note says he wanted to talk to you all, he was killed after the meeting took place tonight and before the bar closed at 2 a.m. However, now that we know what happened after the meeting, I can prove I know who killed him, but first I have to remind you of 2 things. First, when we checked the security system earlier and looked at the timestamps, you noticed that Galvano hadn't used the door once today. It was all Cecilia. So one could easily assume that Galvano entered his room last night before the clock struck midnight, wouldn't they? Now, according to Howard's alibi, once the meeting ended, he and Blythe left the room together. Galvano stayed behind for a bit. That right? Yes, those 2 did leave before him. Right. So what does that mean? Second, Howard had also purchased a pocket watch at the gift shop. He claims it was broken during the meeting, which means it must have been midnight. That's what the clock reads. The moment he broke the watch, Galvano hadn't gone back to his room, and had Galvano opened the door afterwards, after midnight, it would have been locked by security. Because we never saw that lock, we know that Galvano never returned to his room. And the reason why is because he was murdered before he had a chance. Can you really say that for sure? Just to be safe, can we eliminate the possibility that Howard lied about when the watch was broken? As I said earlier, even a broken clock is right twice a day. If it wasn't broken at midnight, the only other chance would be at noon. But at the time, he should have been with Eliza for lunch. He showed me the watch just before noon. Its hand had already stopped moving before then. So what? How could have simply set the time on his watch whenever he wanted, and it conveniently matched it after? There's no way to tell. And for what reason would Howard destroy a pocket watch he just bought? To frame someone for a murder he didn't know about? And you're still not off the hook, Captain Jackass. You see, this document that Gilligan found in your basement is your grandfather's will, so I'm well aware of what's going on between you and old MacDonald over there. What? That's all made up. There's nothing going on. His will? I've never seen it before. What's it got to do with me? This ship was supposed to go to your family, but Jack claimed it for himself instead of breaching the contract. He should have told you about it, but I wonder what he said instead. Jack, you said the ship was rightfully yours. You had it. You said it, so I believed you. It's because the truth behind the incident 50 years ago. They weren't killed in the elevator at all. His grandfather killed them himself. Exactly. And that's just what I was about to mention. Jack was aware of those deaths and used it to set up a nice ghost story. The elevator was never haunted, but because the Galvano died there, Jack had to cover it up somehow. So you're saying I tried to cover up Golder's death? Why would it go to so much trouble? It's absolutely ludicrous. You have a lot to lose if the media found out about the contract. If I found out that Galvano died on your ship, they'd eventually dig deeper enough to cover your own scandal. And considering he's a famous CEO, that's highly likely. Even with the kind of reasoning, you can't prove it. Wrong. There's one way to prove it, and it's through the reconstruction of the closed room. It wasn't me. I didn't do anything with that key. Same here. And as I said, I never got a chance to see it. Exactly. What over here is a liar's paradox. Just think about it a bit. If Donald is lying, then how do you get the key into the room? Surely this old man who couldn't even walk properly without a cane couldn't have possibly used the balcony door, nor could he steal the only key from Cecilia's pocket. And if Cecilia is lying, then she had no motive to let Gilligan into his room, or place the key at all for that matter. And all the key does is incriminate her. No sane person would place it there. Well, I'm not entirely sure she's sane either. Hey! In conclusion, they're both telling the truth, which means we need a third option, and that's where Captain Jack comes into play. If Cecilia never lost the key and Donald never had the key, then it's only logical that Cecilia never had the key either. In other words, Captain Jackass, that is all one big lie. No wonder he waited until the police showed up. He went to frame the maid for the murder. Does that mean he's the killer? No. Just an accomplice. After all, Jack had no motive to kill. His only motive is to cover up the murder because he had something he wanted to hide. The contract. After the murder took place that night, he found out and locked the elevator. He thought of a few ways to conceal the crime and decided to frame Cecilia. That's all. I'll say it now. The real culprit is Blythe. I knew it! But I told you, I have an alibi for the time of the murder. I went right back to my room. Then what about this receipt I found? I see. Because the time was 12:07, they both left the room before midnight. Which we know thanks to Howard's pocket watch. Not just that, but she left a bit out of her testimony. Are you sure you went directly back to your room last night? The receipt said you had ordered some vodka from Cecilia's at the bar. That sound more like it? Oh, right. I told you I felt sick this morning. What's wrong with getting some vodka real quick before going back to my room and drinking it at all? I simply forgot, that's all. Nothing unusual. What's wrong with buying vodka, you ask? It's the murder weapon, for one thing. It's what? We found the glass near the corpse, and from the wounds, it looked like he died from blunt force trauma. Probably isn't much of a stretch to think it was a glass bottle, you think? It could be anything, right? And just because I got a drink, that doesn't mean anything happened. Actually, I remember now. I thought I should have been at the bar so many times yesterday, but I remember now I saw him with Blythe after midnight. And I didn't actually see if Blythe went back to her room or not. Rooms are opposite directions, so I wouldn't have known any better. Makes sense now, but to think he'd been dead this whole time. You're all lying! You're just bluffing to pin it on me! Gavanna stayed behind. You didn't. Said you went to the bar, and that's where Gavanna went yesterday, apparently. Then you murdered him in the elevator. Jack found out, and you two decided to frame the poor barmaid. That's one big accusation, you reckless assert, that we're all behind it all. But you still have yet to solve the closed room. If society didn't place the key, then who did and how? It's impossible for anyone but her. Easy. Blythe did. Both Jack and Blythe are left speechless. When you all found the key, or rather when Blythe herself found the key, she didn't really find it. She had the whole time given to her by Jack. Get it now? There's no other way for the closed room to work. That's just mindless theorizing. Place the final nail in the coffin. That dime message that appeared to look like an SOS. No, I get it now. It was meant to read as 505, which is Blythe's room number. So it was a shortcut for finding the culprit's name. I should have thought about it a lot more. Case closed. Good game. I think it's about time you two come clean now, don't you? Curious one of you attacked me during the ghost tour. Afraid I'd investigate the elevator, find the corpse, and breach the truth. Looks like I did anyway. Jack, tell him he's wrong. It's not true. No, you caught us. Everything happened exactly as you said. You. Why are you siding with him? responsible for his murder is Blythe. I called it! I called it, and I think this episode, I called it at the beginning of this episode, that it was Blythe who killed him! I knew it! Act as an accomplice. Butler concluded that the Jack made the elevator for his death. The bow was actually used as a weapon. In truth, Jack never gave the key to Cecilia and said he gave it to Blythe, who placed it in the diamond. It was actually 5:05. It actually kind of does look like 5:05 when you really look at it. Okay. Anyway, back to this. Because I'm not a murderer. I merely had something I want to hide, but now that's been exposed, I have no reason to go along with that plan. It's still a crime, obstructing the murder from being solved, I mean. Clearly it wasn't. You solved it just fine, right? It's a little convenient that the video evidence was destroyed, wasn't it? You want Cecilia to get the blame, but she isn't the killer. Neither Blythe nor I planned on Golder's death. We each had a common goal. It wasn't planned? That's right. It wasn't planned. Blythe collapses on the floor. Shortly after, two of Jack's men approach her, lifting her up by her arms. Tie her up. There's some rope in the basement. Keep her locked up so that she won't run away or hurt anyone else. Wait! I didn't mean to. It's not my fault. Then please, explain it. Tell us the truth. Every last detail. Well, anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe for more videos like this one. I'm going to do the last part in the last one. But yeah, I'll see you in the next one.